Hello and welcome to this episode of Talk Learner, where we dive deep into ideas and knowledge that help you learn and grow every day. I'm your host, James Mobb, and today we're going to talk about something that's quietly shaping every part of your life, the power of habit. Specifically, how small changes, done consistently, can create massive improvements in your health, mindset, productivity, and overall happiness. We all have habits, whether we realize it or not. Habits are the repeated behaviors and routines that make up most of what we do on a daily basis. Think about the things you do automatically: brushing your teeth, making your morning coffee, checking your phone first thing after waking up. These actions are habits. They happen without much thought because your brain has learned to do them efficiently. This is important because habits save mental energy. Imagine if you had to consciously decide every small thing, like what to wear, what to eat, or how to start your day. That would be exhausting. Instead, habits free your brain to focus on bigger, more important decisions. But habits aren't always positive. Some can hold us back. Maybe you procrastinate on tasks, spend too much time on social media, or get stuck in negative thinking patterns. These bad habits can impact our lives in big ways if left unchecked. So how do habits actually work? To understand them better, let's talk about a simple but powerful model called the habit loop. This concept was popularized by Charles Duhigg in his book The Power of Habit. The habit loop has three parts: the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is the trigger, the thing that tells your brain to start a habit. It could be a time of day, an emotion, or an event. For example, feeling stressed could be a cue. The routine is the behavior you perform in response to the cue. Maybe you grab a snack or check social media. The reward is what you get out of it, like feeling comforted or distracted. Over time, your brain learns to associate the cue with the routine and the reward. This is how habits become automatic. The more often this loop runs, the stronger the habit becomes. The key to changing a habit is to identify the cue and reward, then change the routine to something better. Now, you might be wondering, do I have to make huge, dramatic changes to change my habits? The answer is no. In fact, small changes can be incredibly powerful, especially when they build on each other over time. This idea is often called the compound effect. Just like how saving a little money every day grows into a big amount, small positive habits add up to big results. For instance, if you want to get healthier, you don't need to start by running 5 miles every day. You could start by walking for 5 minutes. That small step is easy, doesn't feel overwhelming, and sets you up to keep going. After a few weeks, you might find yourself walking longer or trying other activities. One reason small habits work well is that they're less intimidating. Big goals can feel scary and lead to giving up quickly. Small habits reduce friction, meaning it's easier to start and maintain them. And when you do something consistently, it becomes part of your identity. Instead of saying, "I want to run," you start to think, "I am a runner." Now, let's explore a few examples of how this works in real life. Imagine someone who wanted to improve their sleep. Instead of trying to overhaul their whole nighttime routine overnight, they started with one small habit: turning off all screens 30 minutes before bed. At first, it was tough. But as that habit stuck, they added reading a calming book, then a short meditation. Gradually, their sleep quality improved and they felt more rested during the day. This is the power of building on small habits. Another example is a busy professional who wanted to be more productive. They started with a tiny habit: writing down the top 3 tasks they needed to complete every morning. This habit didn't take long and wasn't overwhelming, but it gave structure to their day. Over time, they added a habit of taking short breaks every hour to reset their focus. These small changes helped reduce burnout and increase output. So how can you build better habits? Let me share some practical strategies that have helped many people succeed. First, start small. Pick a habit so tiny that it feels almost too easy to do. For example, if you want to read more, commit to reading just 1 page a day. That's it, 1 page. The goal here is not to accomplish a lot right away, but to build consistency. Second, be consistent. Habits form through repetition. Doing a habit daily, even if it's just a little, helps your brain recognize it as important and automatic. Third, use triggers. Try to link your new habit to an existing one. For example, after brushing your teeth, do a quick stretch or write down one thing you're grateful for. This technique is called habit stacking, and makes starting easier because the old habit reminds you to do the new one. Fourth, make it easy. Remove any obstacles that make your habit harder. If you want to eat healthier, Prep your meals or snacks in advance so unhealthy options aren't around. 5th, track your progress. Use a journal, calendar, or an app to record when you complete your habit. Seeing your streak grow is motivating and creates positive pressure to keep going. 6th, celebrate your wins. Positive reinforcement strengthens habits. When you do your habit, take a moment to appreciate it or reward yourself in a healthy way. 7th, be patient. Habit formation doesn't happen overnight. Research shows it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days to build a new habit, depending on the person and the complexity of the habit. So don't get discouraged if it feels slow at first. 8th, plan for obstacles. Life isn't perfect, and you'll face distractions, stress, or busy days. Prepare in advance by thinking about how you'll handle challenges. Maybe you'll do a shorter version of your habit on tough days or reschedule for another time. The key is to keep the habit alive even if it changes temporarily. 9th, make your environment support your habits. If you want to exercise, keep your workout clothes and shoes where you can see them. If you want to eat healthier, keep fruits and veggies visible and snacks out of sight. Changing your environment makes good habits easier to do. Despite your best efforts, setbacks will happen. You might miss a day or two, or even a week. That's completely normal. The most important thing is not to let a slip turn into quitting. If you miss a day, simply get back on track the next day. This mindset is often called, never miss twice. When you feel your motivation dip, remind yourself why you started the habit. Connect to your deeper reasons, whether it's health, confidence, or personal growth. You can also find support by sharing your goals with friends or joining communities with similar interests. Accountability helps keep us going when things get tough. It's also worth remembering that progress is rarely a straight line. You might have great weeks and some tough ones. That's all part of the journey. Persistence and consistency win over perfection every time. Let's talk about some common myths around habits. One big myth is that motivation alone drives change. While motivation is important, it's often unreliable. We all have days when motivation is low. That's why relying on habits, which run automatically, is so powerful. Another myth is that you have to have strong willpower to succeed. In reality, willpower is a limited resource that can run out during the day. Good habits reduce the need for willpower by making healthy behaviors automatic. Finally, some people think that to change, you have to completely overhaul your life all at once. But that often backfires. Small, sustainable changes are more effective in the long run. Before we wrap up, let me share a few real-life examples of how small habits have made big impacts. One person I know started by drinking a glass of water every morning. That small habit improved their hydration and energy. From there, they added a short morning stretch, then a 5-minute meditation. Over months, these small habits led to better health and mental clarity. Another example is someone who struggled with reading regularly. They committed to reading 1 page a day. Within a few weeks, this turned into reading a chapter or more. It reignited their love of learning and boosted their focus. Still another friend wanted to reduce stress and anxiety. They started journaling for just 2 minutes each day, writing down thoughts and feelings. That tiny habit gave them mental clarity and helped manage emotions better. These stories show that change starts with tiny, manageable steps. So as you go forward, remember that the power of habit is in your hands. You don't need perfect motivation or big bursts of energy. Start with small, consistent actions. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate every step forward, no matter how small. Thank you for listening to Talk Learner. I hope this episode has given you useful insights and practical tools to build better habits and improve your life. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with a friend. I'm James Mob, wishing you success on your habit building journey. Catch you in the next episode. Before we finish, I want to share a deep dive into some powerful ideas, stories, and practical advice that will help you not just build habits but truly transform your life step by step. Let's start by reflecting on why habits matter so much. Our daily habits aren't just isolated actions, they shape our identity, our future, and our overall happiness. When you repeat something regularly, your brain rewires itself to make that behavior automatic. This is called neuroplasticity. It means that no matter your age or background, you can create new pathways in your brain by practicing small habits consistently. This ability is incredibly empowering because it puts you in control of who you become. Take a moment to think about your own life. Which habits have shaped who you are today? Maybe it's how you start your mornings, the way you handle stress, or your approach to learning new things. You might realize that some habits have been a huge positive force while others have held you back. The exciting news is that you can choose to change or create new habits at any time. You're not stuck with your past. Now, I want to share with you some stories of people just like you who used tiny habits to create extraordinary change. There's the story of Sarah, a busy mom and full-time professional who felt overwhelmed by her daily routine. She wanted to exercise but couldn't find the time or motivation. Instead of forcing herself into an intense workout, she started by doing just 2 push-ups a day. 2 push-ups. It was so small it felt silly. But she did it every day without fail. After a few weeks, that 2 push-ups habit grew into a short workout session, then a daily walk, and eventually she joined a community running group. Over months, Sarah's health improved, her energy increased, and she felt proud of her consistency. The key was starting so small it was impossible to skip. Then there's Mark, who struggled with anxiety and negative self-talk. He started a simple habit of writing down one positive thing about himself each morning. Some days it was hard to find even one thing, but he committed to writing something no matter what. Over time, his mindset shifted. That daily habit rewired his brain to focus on strengths instead of weaknesses. Now Mark uses journaling as a tool for mental resilience. These examples highlight something critical: the power of patience and persistence. Habits are not magic wands. They're bricks you lay day by day, building the foundation of your future self. So, how do you stay patient when you don't see quick results? One way is to focus on the process instead of the outcome. Celebrate showing up, even if the progress feels small. The act of consistent effort is what creates lasting change. Another tip is to keep your habits visible and connected to your environment. For example, if you want to drink more water, keep a glass or bottle on your desk where you can see it. If you want to write daily, keep your journal or laptop in an inviting spot. Our environment strongly influences behavior, often more than willpower. Let's also talk about the role of community and support. Humans are social creatures, and accountability can make a huge difference in habit formation. Join groups or find friends with similar goals. Share your challenges and wins. Sometimes just knowing others are on the same journey helps you keep going. If you find yourself stuck, don't hesitate to seek inspiration from books, podcasts, or mentors. Learning from others' experiences can motivate and give you new strategies. Speaking of learning, here's a habit I recommend everyone try: daily reflection. Spend 5 minutes at the end of each day thinking about what went well, what could improve, and what small step you'll take tomorrow. This habit builds self-awareness and helps you course correct. Now, it's important to recognize that not all habits are equally important. Prioritize habits that align with your values and goals. Sometimes we get overwhelmed trying to change everything at once. Focus on a few meaningful habits, and watch how they ripple out into other parts of your life. Let me introduce the idea of keystone habits. These are habits that trigger positive changes across many areas. For example, regular exercise is often a keystone habit because it improves mood, energy, sleep, and even eating habits. Find your keystone habits and invest in them. We should also address habit stacking in more detail. This technique is incredibly powerful. Imagine you already have a solid habit of making coffee every morning. What if you add a 30-second mindfulness practice immediately after? Because your brain is already primed by the coffee routine, it's easier to add the next habit. Layering habits builds momentum and makes change feel seamless. If you ever feel like giving up, remind yourself that setbacks are not failures, they're part of growth. Every time you restart, you build resilience. The key is never missing twice in a row. One thing I've found helpful is to create habit contracts. Write down your commitment, share it publicly, and set consequences or rewards. This external accountability increases your chances of success. Let's not forget the importance of celebration and reward. When you achieve milestones or stick to a habit for a week, reward yourself meaningfully. Not with something that breaks your progress, but with something that uplifts you, like a favorite activity or a small treat. I want to challenge you to try a 30-day habit challenge. Choose one habit, start tiny, and commit to doing it every day for 30 days. Track your progress visibly. At the end, reflect on what changed. Many people find these challenges to be game changers. Lastly, I encourage you to embrace lifelong learning. Habits aren't just about health or productivity, they're also about curiosity, creativity, and connection. Try to build habits around reading, learning new skills, or reaching out to friends and family. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Every expert or successful person started with small steps and faced challenges too. What sets them apart is their commitment to consistent action over time. Thank you so much for being part of Talk Learner today. I hope these insights help you see habits not as chores but as powerful tools for growth and happiness. I'm James Mob, wishing you patience, persistence, and joy as you build your best habits. Until next time, take care and keep learning.